Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stash Report from the Stash Project. This is the January 2017 compilation video. What this is for the new folks out there, once a month beginning, we do a video of all the kits we expect to see released. So there's all in one easy to find location. Obviously, every Friday we do a show, more or less every Friday we do a show. It's a lot of information to keep track of, so beginning of the month we do these videos. Alright, so we have releases from both sides of the domestic manufacturing thing here, Revell and Round 2. For people who don't realize that the Mobius 65 Comet is out, we'll talk about that on the Friday show. And then we have Aoshima, Fujimi, and Hasegawa over in Japan doing kits for the month of January. So let's jump right into it. Revell will be reissuing their 1951 Anglia drag coupe, their little gasser. This is going to be done in the selected subject program, which means it's going to be a limited release. It's going to be sort of the original box art decals to be the original kit from back in the 1960s. Beyond that, it's pretty much the same Anglia that's been reissued. Who knows how many times in between the original time and here in 2017. However, like I said, it's a limited run with the original box art ish kind of thing. It's not going to be an exact copy, but inspired by, and then the decals to make the original car. Those are usually runs of like 5,000 or so, and then once they sell out, they're done. We're finally going to get the reissue of the 57 Chevy 150 Black Widow 2-in-1. You can build that either just a stock 150 Chevy, so I think it would go Sportsman, and then the Black Widow NASCAR based car as well. It's a reissue. Some people thought that you couldn't build the 150 out of the original kit, but you can. So it's just a straight reissue of that kit from about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. This was supposed to come out in the end of 2016, but it sort of missed. It is ironically the one kit that Revell missed for the entirety of 2016 being out when they said it was going to be out. I don't know, it's a reissue. Why was it late? But at any rate, it was, and now it's coming out. And last but not least, we're going to get one more Revell of Germany kit, and not the one that I would have expected, but this is going to be the 68 Volkswagen Beetle police vehicle. There's two sets of liveries, which are supposed to have two variations per livery. So there's like 3 lighting options, so there are going to be a variety of various little towns in Germany that you'll be able to replicate with this kit. Keep in mind that, of course, it is a 68 Beetle German spec. This was a big to-do back when the kit came out originally. I want to say it's probably been 3 years now. That when it was reboxed for the United States, because this is a sort of an interesting little side story of the kit. This is one of the very few kits that was never sent to us in a Revell of Germany box the first time. This kit came out right after Habaco had bought Revell of Germany, and they were sort of debating what kits they were or weren't going to re-import in terms of sending the Revell of Germany box kits over prior to kits being reboxed by Revell of USA. So we never got a Revell of Germany boxing of this kit unless you bought it from Europe, because they were never imported here. So now we're going to get that sort of importation, so to speak, with this police version. But when they boxed it in the U.S. boxing, a lot of people had a very large problem, but the fact that they never bothered to correct the car to be U.S. spec or North American spec for 1968. This is a German spec car. That's why it's German decals to it. So keep that in mind so that you're not one of those people that ran around acting a fool back then. And that'll be Revell. Over at Round 2, there's going to be one reissue at NPC, and that is the ice cream truck, the George Barris Street Rod. This is going to be like a limited edition, so to speak. It's not limited edition in run, but it's going to be a limited edition in the boxing, commemorative to George Barris, because of course he's dead now. It's got pad-printed Firestone tires in it, and the original decals for the first time since the kit came out back in the 1960s. Somebody was recently saying, well, how many of these kits do I need to buy? Because there's been like 5 reissues of it over the yeyears. Yeah, there have been 5 reissues over the years, and there are some of those reissues that are pretty cheap to get a hold of, but none of them are the original kit as far as the decals and, all that goes. All of them have sort of been, sort of variations of a theme, and a lot of them didn't have George Barris's name attached to them, which is probably why they didn't have the original decal sets. So, more of a collector's item probably for George Barris fans than it is an actual model for builders, just because there are so many of the old kits laying around. But be that as it may, if you really do want that sort of original flavor and aren't willing to pay, an original kit price, this will be coming out. Still fighting the cold if you can't tell. The AMT guy is going to have 4 kits coming out in January. They are the 1949 Ford reissue. This one's going to be done as the Gasman Gasser, which is another sort of throwback to the 1960s as far as the box art is going to be what they call the silent box, where there's no printing on the box cover itself. All the printing of the kit description and the kit name and all that will be on the box ends. They're going to run the original trophy base for the first time in a long time. It's been restored, and then there's 2 sets of pad printed drag slicks included in this, as well as 2 sets of other tires, the original Firestones and Polyglass GTs. It's a 3-in-1, be built stock, custom, or as the Gasser. Again, it's another kit that's been out not that long ago. However, this is sort of, again, just a little tweak here and there to sort of grab the fans of certain kits. The 2016 Camaro SS kit that just came out here not that long ago is going to be released as a pre-painted kit in the red metallic that all the kits have been molded in, except this is legitimately painted. They've taken the Aoshima approach, or perhaps the old Pro Shop approach, where every part of the kit is painted. Revell pre-paints, as we talk about, only the body itself is pre-painted. The rest of the kit you have to paint yourself. In this kit, they're going to paint the entire thing, and all you have to do is assemble it. Keep in mind, they are painting it on the runners, and they are painting it without actually doing any of the prep work. So everything is going to have mold lines and, sprue attachment points and things like that. So it's not necessarily a complete and total, just throw it together, unless you don't care about that sort of stuff. And you're just doing it sort of as a quick build to see what it looks like. You're all going to have to touch up paint here and there as far as, getting things off of the runners and things like that. First time in a long time, reissue of the 1/32nd scale 65 Mustang, another one of the all-star kits. They're not being called that now. They're under a different branding thing, but another one of the 1/32nd scale kits. And then last but not least, they're going to be reissuing the 1964 Starliner again. Another kit that I've heard a lot of people go, oh, what are we reissuing that for? This guys will be coming out as a 2-in-1 for the first time since the late 1990s when it was packaged that way. Every time the 60 Starliner has been reissued, it's only been reissued in the factory stock versions. It's never had the custom parts. And with those custom parts, you get 2 entire engines with multiple intake options. So, if nothing else, you're getting a free engine out of it. Perhaps you built the last of your 60 Starliners. I don't know. But again, it's just a little tweaking to the packaging and the presentation to, draw in, somebody who perhaps doesn't have a 60 Starliner, or perhaps, had one of the 2-in-1 custom stock ones back in the day and really like another, like another engine that was one of the engine options that was in that kit. So that'll be coming out in January. Going overseas into Japan. Fujimi will be reissuing underneath this new Yokoshiko Mechadoc series, their Isuzu Piazza and their Toyota Celica XX. Again, both not that great kits in the terms of being motorized and generic chassis and things like that, but it is the only Isuzu Piazza kitted, so, there's that. And then one last thing for January will be the Daihatsu Midget 2 with the Japan Post livery attached to it. A little bit different than the actual Daihatsu Midget they've reissued recently, a couple years ago, where it was a pickup bed. This one's going to have a little, panel box on the back of it so that it's enclosed. Hasegawa will be doing 4 reissues this month. They are the 71 Safari Rally winning Nissan 240Z, the 1970 Safari Rally winning Bluebird 1600 SSS, the Kenwood Kramer livery sponsored Porsche 962C, and the Idemitsu Motion Mugen EG6 Honda Civic race car. Expect that to be probably the last of the race car reissues. It doesn't look like we're going to actually get that reissue of one of the kits with the Enki racing wheels. Zoomon makes those wheels for the kit. However, they're always sold out. So it's like they exist, but you can't have any. Very frustrating in that sense. One of those things where you didn't realize you need it until too late, and now they can't get a hold of it. Hopefully, they keep saying they're going to restock it, and they either sell out so fast that I can't catch them in stock, or that restock hasn't happened yet. And then lastly, over at Aoshima, we've got some things that are being boxed into these new boxing series, and then a few regular reissues. The regular reissues are a series of the 80s to mid 90s Cedrics, and then Nissan Cedric 430 280E Brome, the Nissan Cedric 330 2000 SGLE, and the Nissan Cedric Y30 V30 Turbo Brome. Too many words, too many numbers, but that'll cover you pretty much from the mid 70s to the mid 80s. Again, all motorized, all generic chassis, but all the only options in town. Now, boxing into these new boxing series underneath the model car, they're going to be throwing in the 71 Skyline GTR. Again, it's a motorized, old motorized best car vintage kit. Not the best option if you want a GTR. Obviously, the Tamiya kit's much better. Reissue of the HC33 1991 Laurel Club S. That does come with an engine insert. Reissue of the 2010 Subaru WRX STI wagon. Very poignant because the guys over at USCP have just released a resin trans kit to convert that into a sedan. And last but not least, the 1991 Mitsubishi Delica Space Wagon. This is the older version of the Super Exceed wagon that came out. That's like a mid-90s. It's been a while since this kit's been out. Probably has been late 90s, early 2000s since this kit's been around. It's not hard to find necessarily, but it's always good to see a fresh reissue so you don't have to hunt for it or pay more than you think it's worth. In the tuned model car series, they're going to be doing a reissue of the Top Secret, Nissan Skyline R34 GTR, and the Kaniz's KZX or JZX, excuse me, 100 Toyota Tour 5. I saw recently somebody asking for a new bumper to one of the D1 Grand Prix Chaser kits. This is that same kit. It just doesn't have the D1 Grand Prix decal. So if you happen to have one of those laying around and you're like, I like to build this thing, but I got broken parts and it's an old kit and I can't. It's the exact same kit. It's sort of like how the Urace Skyline is really the D1 Grand Prix Drift Skyline in just a different packaging. Same deal here. And then last but not least, force wheel sets come in fours. So these are going to be newly boxed into the Tune Parts series. These are a set of 18-inch wheels that have been around so many times here recently that I kind of wonder who needs a set anymore, but they must see value in reproducing them. And they are the Volk Racing TE37s RTs, the Graham Light 57 Extremes, the Work Emotion CRs, and the Work Emotion S1s. Again, if you're into your aftermarket wheels, you know what all those are because they've been reissued at least 2 times in the last 2 years, and this will be the 3rd time in like 2 years and 3 months. So, yeah, like I said, they must sell them because they wouldn't be reissuing them otherwise. And you know what? I think that's it. It's a relatively short video because it's kind of a slow month, and in the sense of not a lot, after the big blowout of the new tools from Aoshima and Hasegawa and stuff like that. We're kind of, coasting into the spring model car, show and, expo season. One other Aoshima kit that will be coming out in January, I almost forgot, of course, is the Lamborghini Aventador Super Veloce. So that's, the last of the known supercar kits to come out. We have the Revell of Germany 2017 release schedule. We'll talk about that on Friday. And then, of course, we're waiting beyond that for the Nuremberg Toy Fair in February, and then we'll be into getting into the Suzuka Hobby Show over there in May. So, rolling right along, but, no real big announcements really expected anytime real soon. It'll just be sort of reissues and new stuff like that. I've seen it, sort of taken a look at into the future as far as Revell goes and things like that. It looks like most of the new tool stuff, like the Suburban and the Foose pickup and things like that, are going to be out towards the end of the first quarter, like March. So it'll be a little bit of wait for that stuff as well. So anyway, guys, that'll inform you as to what you are or aren't spending your money on this month, and we'll see you guys on the other side.